Hello, I'm Tony Vlahos, and I'm speaking today by Skype with ExecuNet founder and CEO Dave Opton about executive job search. Dave, how are you today?
Hey, Tony, I'm fine, thanks.
Terrific. So, today we're going to talk about what an executive should understand about search. Dave, what should an executive know about search?
Well, there are a lot of things to know about it, and probably that it's got more time than we've got right now. But I guess I would start by saying it's important to understand where search is in the 21st century. We've all been impacted by technology up one side and down the other, and it certainly has affected search just as it has other parts of our lives. And I think that one of the things that people should keep in mind, and this is true whether you're working or whether you're not working, because how search impacts you if you're in one of those two categories is somewhat different. But the technology affects us all. And in that case, it has to do with how easy it is, for example, to fall into the electronic trap, if you will, of trying to utilize technology as you try to interface with the marketplace. And while that makes it easy, it doesn't make it the most effective thing to be doing. As anybody, and this is true again, whether you're working or not working, there's a tendency for candidates to be sending off resumes off into cyberspace and continually building up a reservoir of frustration because they don't hear anything, which is certainly the norm, but not the expectation level. So it's important to understand that and to take advantage of the technology and use it in ways that are effective for you in terms of expanding your personal and professional network, which, by the way, is the way most executives make a change these days, not by answering ads.
Right. How would you characterize the process, Dave, of finding a job?
Well, that's a good question because I think let me give you a kind of a scenario that makes it, I think, a little easier for some of us to think about, and that is this. You've got to understand that what search really is, if you take your personal feelings out of it, this is a sales process, pure and simple. And what that means is, only in this case, you're the product, which is where a lot of the discomfort comes from, a lot of the anxiety comes from, which is certainly natural and understandable. But the fact of the matter is, that's what it is. And my job in trying to make a change is to identify what in the sales world you would call suspects, turn them into prospects, and turn those into to interviews and hopefully offers. And it can be done. But particularly if you look at it in that kind of a fashion and try not to fall into the trap of getting emotionally wrapped up into it. And the reason that a lot of people don't like to do that is because the discomfort comes, as we all know. Most salespeople really get rewarded for accepting rejection for as many times and a lot more than that, then they get somebody to sign the order. And when you're the product, that is a very uncomfortable place to be.
Sure. And in this scenario, the recruiter doesn't always want to buy what you have to sell, correct?
That is for sure. In fact, that's another sort of a myth or misnomer, I think, that a lot of us think of, particularly if we've been recruited in the past. There's a lot difference in the candidate experience when you are recruited by someone as opposed to when you are the candidate and therefore the salesperson and not the buyer. And that makes a big difference. And I think a lot of people forget about the fact that recruiters, they work for clients. They earn a living by making telephone calls, not by taking them. People who feel that you hear the phrase a lot, I'm going to work with recruiters. And I usually tell members that I'm talking to in that regard, let me tell you something. Working with recruiters is not a strategy, okay? It's wishful thinking.
It's a hope, right?
If you're the one who's got to drive this process.
I hear you. Well, that's great. We are going to continue our Skype in part two. Stick around for it, where we'll ask Dave what an executive should really do in the first days and weeks of their search. Stick around.